I think we're live now. I think this looks a little bit better. I'm not sure what was going on. I'm going to blame it on a case of the Windows going on there. So from what I can see here, we're live. Tony, thanks for the comment. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, some more folks are pouring in. I'm going to quickly jump on the social medias and put a new follow-up link because, man, I'm never a fan of sending out these links because something can always go wrong. And this time around, of course it did. Of course. Let's edit this post. And we're going to put in the new link. Haha. I can always edit. Haha. There we go. Excellent. Can we see other folks can see me? All right. I see Laure. I see Olaf. I see Eric, Miguel. Yeah, I got worried there for a sec too, Laure. Okay, so hey, welcome to Large Format Live. My name is Matt Marrash. I'm the host of Large Format Friday. Welcome to the channel. And wow, we already have 12 folks coming in. So yeah, send them on over. I updated the Facebook link, so if you got here through Facebook, you can change that around. But if you want to send this to some other folks that you know are watching Large Format Live, please send the link. I want to get as many folks in on this as possible because we're going to be doing large format Q&A. You might see a highlighted name in the chat. That's my fiance, Laure. She's going to be moderating this, so she's going, be nice, be excellent to each other, and put some constructive comments and stuff in there. So let's say some highs. I see Huron, Max Shoots Film, Melanin X Halide, Alan, Devin. Let's see, Register, Bill McCarroll. Cool. You see a lot of folks already in. Perfect. Okay. All right. We're getting up there. We're going. This is good. So I want to give you a little bit of an idea of the layout of today's Large Format Live. We're back up here at 400 West Rich here in Columbus, Ohio. And I've got some multicam set up and I've done a little magic of TV and gotten us set up for some alternative photographic process printing. So alternative photographic processes are those that don't use silver gelatin and typically are no longer commercially available. They might have been in the past, but they certainly aren't now. The alternative process that I'm going to be doing today is platinum palladium, which I can think of a lot of different ways to watch your money burn in real time, but everybody else is going to share the experience of watching my money burn in real time. So this should be fun. Again, alternative photographic processes are non-silver gelatin processes. So we're actually hand mixing and hand coating a photographic emulsion onto some paper in order to make it light sensitive. A lot of these processes, including platinum palladium, need ultraviolet light to make the proper exposure. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Very, very cool. All right, perfect. Hey, Amanda, good seeing you. All right, this is good. This is good. All right. Oh, I need to update the Twitter link as well. I got carried away. Very cool. I'm going to quote tweet my own tweet because that's the pro move, right? I'm going to quote tweet and I'm going to put the new link in there because that's what we're going to do. Anyway, alternative photographic processes that we're doing today. We're doing platinum palladium printing. We're going to hand coat. I'm going to show you some of the hand coating stuff. If this all feels like a lot coming at you very fast, there are some videos that I already have in the can for Large Format Friday. By the way, if you're watching this and you've never watched any of the Large Format Friday stuff, go ahead and head to the channel page or open that up in another tab and check out Large Format Friday. Every Friday, there's going to be a new upload talking about something pretty vaguely related to the world of large format. I say vaguely because a lot of analog photographic processes carry over pretty well from smaller size films to large films, but I love LFF, the acronym, and all that stuff. And doing it every Friday keeps me pretty regular there. Let's see. So we are going to be doing some mild Q&A, but first I want to give you a layout of what's going on. We'll talk about some of the process behind it, and then we'll jump right to it and see. Man, I really want to see. We're off to a bit of a false start, but let's see if we can get today's live stream up even higher than the last one. Now, that's a really tall hill to climb, but let's see if we can do it. All right. Hey, there's David. David, welcome. Thanks for finding us. So we have this main shot here, which don't worry, you're not going to have to look at my mug the entire time. We're not going to learn that much just by looking at my mug. We're going to change around the cameras a little bit. So I've got my main shot here, and then I have another shot which is located really close to here. I have my little my little everyday camera, my Fuji, for when I do stuff on the light table. So I can address you guys directly and show you some of my negatives that we're printing with here today. So we'll talk about things like density and all that good stuff. So we can go over that at the light table. But then we're also going to have a nice feed coming in the darkroom itself. And oh my gosh, if you guys could see all the cables and cords, there are too many to dodge. So being that this is an alternative photographic process that is UV sensitive, we can actually work in decently bright light, not too bright a light. We have a very warm incandescent light going on in here, and it's relatively intense. This is about as bright as my kitchen is with the stovetop light on. And that's going to be good enough to coat our photographic materials. I got my little Pyrex shot glass here. This is for mixing my emulsion and hand coating. We've got some trays laid out. These white trays back here are for my wash and my rinse. I've got my really dirty, used for the last half of a decade Platinum Palladium developer. This stuff lasts forever. Probably should get filtered out a few times though. I'm almost out. You lose, it's diminishing returns. You always return less to the bottle than you start with. So I've got some of that. Things we're going to need for Platinum Palladium. A lot of money. No, well, yes, you'll need that, but there are a few materials. You're going to need a place where you can have some trays. Running water is preferred, but it is optional. You don't need running water. You're going to need some distilled water. This is for keeping my coating brush, my little hake brush. That keeps this nice and not like moist, but just like damp, so it's not absorbing. You can see the color that the brush has, kind of that sheen it's achieved. Those bristles started out blonde, and now they have this very copper tone. That's because they've picked up some of those platinum and palladium salts. So this brush has a lot of money in rare earth metal, or rare metals, noble metals. Hopefully I can recover those. I can't. You're going to need some metal salts. This is probably the most expensive part of the kit. These are pre-made ones from Bostic and Sullivan, which I think is one of the best sources on planet Earth for alternative photographic process chemicals. I'm going to be using my palladium solution and my sodium platinum, or sodium chloroplatinate solution. I'm doing kind of a newer sodium platinum printing process, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm just doing a quick overview now. All right, let's head back to the chat. Say hi's to our new folks here on the stream. What do we got? All right, Disco Shrew, good seeing you. Brad, nice to see you. All right, have you ever tried the Saltista? That sounds like a really cool restaurant. I've never heard of that process. It's a platinum palladium process, but uses less stuff and is developed very coolly. Oh, in a silver nitrate. That's interesting. I can see how that would be, how that would have like a cooler type effect. Oh, Olaf, yeah. Thanks for the tip on the light tables. Yeah, they're generally really bright. I have an ND filter on the lens for when we do that kind of close-up work, but good eye. Hey, Joseph Brunges, how's it going, man? All right, Mark Full, good seeing you, Mark. We just saw each other yesterday. Nice. All right. Yeah, just I think that hake brush may have been dipped in even more liquid money than that, Devin. It is a lot of money. If you're just joining us, welcome to Large Format Live. My name is Matt Marrash. We are here in the, outside the darkroom. We're gonna do a little talking, a little process, and hopefully you'll get to see the prints happen live. It's one of my favorite things, and now that the technology is out there that I can share this stuff with you guys live, I think live streaming and the slower, more methodical process of large format and analog photography works really well with live streaming, because there's like some build up and excitement, and then boom, it all kind of hits, and just being able to watch that magic happen, that is so cool. Like I really wish when I was getting started, I would have the ability to watch other folks make prints. Now, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to make good prints today, but I'm going to make some prints for you guys live. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, right. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, the platinum plating process, I already have a video out on the channel. It's about 25 minutes long, and it's got some nice little chapters you can kind of follow along with. But hopefully you can kind of see what goes into the process live, because there is definitely some magic of television that happens when I have to cut together a video. And the 25 minutes, that was a short version of it. You can definitely make these things really, really long when they're uncut. So that's why I think the live stream format works really, really well for darkroom and alt process. All right, we got Miguel. Yeah, actually, I agree with Miguel. Brad, drop a link to that Saltista process. Is it on like alternativephotography.com? By the way, if you've never been to, alternativephotography.com is a fantastic resource. It's kind of like open source. People can submit blogs, and there's members on there, and there's all sorts of processes outlined. It's a really good good chunk of knowledge there. All right. Very cool. All right. Whoa, I just looked at the count. That's 63 folks. This is amazing. I think we can get there. We've only been up for 10 minutes, and we have a lot of folks coming in. So before we, you know what, let's just jump right into some printing, into like the materials a little bit more, and we'll get right to it. I've already done a few things ahead of time, so we can kind of just go right to it, because this process, you need to have, I think for platinum, you need to have a good 2 to 3 hours minimum to get everything kind of like laid out and set up and get into a nice flow. A lot of these processes, even silver gelatin, you can't rush it. When you rush it, there's so many variables and so many things that require your like immediate attention. It's a good idea to give it that time. If you can commit a half day or a full day, even better. Okay. Wero, any comment on discontinuation of 400H? You know, I shot maybe like a dozen rolls of that when I got started. This was like 08. I shot one of my first all film weddings on 400H. It was a good stock, but I think what happens when films are discontinued, so Pro 400H is a Fujifilm. Fujifilm is like notorious. It's almost a meme now that they're going to discontinue people's favorite things, but really, I kind of call BS on this, people saying it's their favorite thing. Like, I rarely ever heard about the stuff after like Portra 400 really kind of hit the scene and became its own like super like everybody fixated on Portra 400, and I was one of them. I was a tester on Portra 400, and I loved the stuff and just kind of went with it. And it was more like an availability and pricing thing. Pro 400H was always expensive wherever I was looking to find it, and Portra was always a little bit cheaper because I'm here in the US. So that's my comment. All right. Let's see, who else is... Strudel has arrived. Yes, Stephen, thank you so much. Thanks for contributing to the channel. So if you see folks talking like all this Strudel hype in the chat, Strudel is my little red dapple dachshund. And the last time we did large format live a little over a month ago, I was offering a deal I will probably never offer again, because I spent like 2 or 3 weeks of my life making, hand coding, and making some Strudel cyanotype prints. So you can go check into the large format live playlist on the channel and check out all of that madness. I'm trying to keep it a little bit more composed today, but I am still a little flustered from the false start on the live stream. So let's see. My dog isn't even up on the walls. Oh no. Mr. Brunges, so the Ilford ULF special order program. So I got an email in my inbox about a week and a half ago from our Ilford guy here in the US. And the ULF program is technically already open. The only thing we're waiting on is for dealers to update their pricing and availability sheets. And Ilford has not yet made an official announcement on it, but it is currently on. So starting June 1 through August 20th, you have until then to get your ULF special order. If you want more details on that, you can go to the last episode of Large Format Friday, which just came out on Friday. And there's more details there with films and links to Ilford's 2020 announcement. From what I could tell, the films that they're offering are identical, but unfortunately, the prices have gone up. It's no surprise the film prices go up pretty, at least annually. Ilford, for a while there, was only doing it like every other year, but with the film now, it's pretty much yearly that prices go up. So don't expect to pay the same you paid last year, but it's not that much worse. So that's my comment on ULF. All right. Oh yeah, Laura, thanks for dropping that link in the chat. So another thing that kind of helps the channel, helps me afford to do things like this with the channel is a program that I rolled out last month during the live stream, which is LFF Sustaining Memberships. So this is a way that you can contribute to what you're seeing here on the channel. All proceeds, everything generated through that actually just sits in a PayPal account. And then when I need to do something like go to Bostic and Sullivan and buy chemicals, I'll buy it using that. So details on our LFF memberships, you can go to marrash.com. That's marrash.com/memberships. And you can become a sustaining member for as little as $1 a month, and you'll show up in the rolling credits for Large Format Friday episodes. $5 a month, where you're going to get a handwritten thank you note sent anywhere worldwide. Hopefully they make it worldwide, but sent anywhere worldwide. And then we have the $10 a month sustaining level, which that's a cool one because you get all of the perks from below, the lower tiers, but you also get priority access. So what I do is when you become an LFF sustaining member at the $10 level, I log the email you sign up with. And if I get an email from that, it goes into a priority inbox. Like, you know, it's kind of like when your boss calls you and like, you're like, oh crap, I got to get this. Like, that's how I treat all emails from LFF sustaining members at the $10 level. You're going to get an answer from me in 24 hours or less. So that's my extra thank you to you. All right. Very cool. So, anyway, back to what we're doing today. We're doing alternative photographic processes, specifically platinum palladium. Platinum palladium is a really fun process, and it's one that looks pretty simple on camera, but it can be very demanding. Alternative photographic processes, including platinum, are contact-only processes. This means that the size of the print that we're making is based on the size of the negative or the original that we're working with. So in the case of me, if you've watched the channel, you know I shoot a big old 8x10 inch camera and generate 8x10 inch negatives. You can make a contact print with 110 or APS film, you know, it's just really, really tiny. So a contact print is going to be the exact same size as your original. So in the case of what we're doing today, we're working with some 8x10 inch negatives. And the specific negatives that we're working with today are negatives that I made from Large Format Friday 2 weeks ago down in Hocking Hills or not 2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, a week and a half. Oh my gosh, it's been a whirlwind week and a half. Anyway, I'm working with these negatives. These negatives are Ilford Delta 100. These are actually going to be my first alternative photographic process prints using Ilford Delta 100. I'm pretty confident because I went through all the extra steps to test my film. By the way, if you want to learn how to test film, I have another LFF episode I did a few weeks ago on how to test your photographic materials to get the most range out of them. Now, one thing that makes platinum palladium, I don't know if you guys can hear the rumble of the train coming through. There's a train, everywhere I go, there's always a train tracks like 50 feet away. This is one of them too. Anyway, platinum palladium, it generates a print with a very, very long, smooth tonal scale. So the prints themselves may appear a little bit more soft or flat. Those are words you might hear folks use to describe these prints. It's an alternative printing process that's also known as a printing out process. Your negative kind of prints out right there on the paper. It gives you this faint ghost image, and the more density it gets, so the more exposure an area gets through the thinner, more transparent parts of the negative, it starts to build on the shadows and mask themselves. So the shadows don't really ever get too muddy or clumpy. They have a really nice smooth transition, which is great. All right, do we have any? Wow, you guys have been like really great about like questions. But if you have any questions, you know, let me know. Drop those in the chat. That's another part of this. This stream is for you guys. So, you know, I definitely want to show you some cool stuff. But if you have any questions that are just burning about large format, throw those in there. I'll try to get to them in you know, good time. So Carl's asking, what am I printing today? So these are all negatives from Cedar Falls. The negative that I'm going to print, the one that I want to print at least, is one, let's see. I'm going to switch to my camera that's a little bit brighter, and I'm going to darken this down a little bit. Oh no, I really got to. darken it down. The negative that I'm printing today is one from Cedar Falls where I had a really extreme amount of tilt going on. Or sorry, not tilt, swing. So I was doing camera movements. Camera movements are where you can change your perspective and your sharp focus to make things, to make things come into focus that shouldn't otherwise. So that's the negative I'm going to be working with. The dynamic range on the negative is pretty decent and kind of falls in line with what a lot of my platinum palladium prints go into. So just as a little comparative thing, the platinum palladium prints that I made on the LFF episode have a density, the negatives have a density of like this. So density just means, how much you can or can't see through it. And then comparison, here's the negative that I just created. They're actually not too far off. I'm anticipating this printing at about the 5-minute range. And if I need to do additional controls, we'll talk about that with chemicals here in a little bit. The paper that I'm printing with today, I'm using one of my favorite papers. I think this is really what kind of took platinum palladium printing up a notch for me, is this amazing stuff right here. This is Hahnemühle Platinum Rag. Big shout out to Hahnemühle. Actually, this was one I paid for myself, but I had a few packs sent to me a couple years back from Hahnemühle directly. They're an amazing mold-made print company. Small company, has been around, I guess not too small now, but they actually a few years ago celebrated 400 years in business. Like, I live in the United States. Nothing over here that I know of is like 400 years old, right? It's all very, very recent history. These guys have been around for that long. So I love supporting a business like that that's just been in it, hand-making mold-made paper. All right, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Large Format Live. I'm gonna jump into the chat and see how stuff is looking here. All right, John, good seeing you. Pete Brackenberry, good seeing you. Steve Lawson, all right. Charlotte, hey there. Have I shot Cat Labs X80 before? I believe the Cat Labs stuff is that Shanghai GP3, or is that a different film that I'm thinking of? I think the Cat Labs isn't exactly a new emulsion. It's just a different branding for regional distribution, because those guys are a distributor. But if it's Shanghai, I have shot that film before. I didn't really like it. I think maybe the quality or something was different. It could have been expired as well. There was very little information. I purchased it off of an eBay direct seller. So I didn't have the best experience with it, but I might be willing to try it again. It's nice to change things up, but I'm also kind of like a consistency guy. I like to get something that is always available and has really, really good, even consistency. Well, we're up to 75 folks. Hey out there, everybody. All right. A couple bucks, how much it tends. Yeah, so Charlotte, I would say still go ahead and pick it up, but test it. If you want to learn more about the testing process, make sure you get subscribed and check out the LFF video on testing film. It's just a universally good one. And I kind of hedged my bets on working with the negatives today, because I've actually never contact printed them on anything other than silver, because they're less than 10 days, or they're like 10 days old. So, one way to make sure I can get more consistency, I brought with me my testing negatives. So the negatives I made during the film testing episode with the Stouffer step wedge on Ilford Delta 100, if all else fails, I have this to fall back on to kind of recalibrate and do my testing. If you see me printing a wedge, things have gone terribly wrong. Hopefully that's not the case. Okay, how are we doing in the chat? Olaf, good seeing you, man. Miguel, what would you say are the main differences between Hahnemühle Platinum Rag and Arches Platine? I like Arches Platine. Miguel, your question is, Miguel's question is about the different printing papers and the surfaces. I think the Platinum Rag has a little bit more tooth to it than the Arches Platine, but it's just kind of easy to work with. It coats really quickly and just has just a super nice look to it. That's my whoa! Oh my gosh! Hold on a sec, everybody. This is kind of wild. I'm gonna have to cut the mic here in a real quick sec. Oh my goodness! Is this who I think it is, Mr.? Here.
Yeah.
Let me get you over to this camera angle over here. Hey, so everybody, this is my darkroom room. You got your hair cut too, man.
I did.
Oh my, yeah, this is my makeshift microphone for right now.
Okay. Yes, my name's Stephen Takis, and I got a haircut. And I'm fortunate enough to share space with Matt here at 400 Rich, and we've been darkroom mates for many years now.
Oh my gosh, how long has it been? It maybe 6 or 7 years?
I don't. That sounds about right. It's
I
like
know.
it goes way too fast. I know that much.
Way too fast, and you're like barely in this darkroom anymore because you just like set up you got your own suite space now.
Yeah, I've been set up a big home studio. I found this wonderfully large stainless steel sink on eBay, and been starting to work there.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, so everybody, this is Stephen. He's an amazing photographer, camera builder, just overall great experimenter of photographic materials. So, Stephen, this is kind of wild that you're here right now. I would say I wasn't entirely ready, but I was a little ready. I said, hey, Stephen, come on down. But we're here at 400. You can see this is quite an involved setup we've got.
Yes, I've never seen your whole rig for this. This is cool.
Don't worry, the pre-recorded stuff isn't as bad as this, but we're wired up to the gills. So Stephen is a fantastic photographer. I told him to go ahead and bring some toys, bring some negatives. Hopefully we'll have some time to print some of your stuff as well. You got a while?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of time.
I've just been like chatting with everybody in the chat. So
nice.
We have 82 people watching from around the world right now. Yeah.
Where do you know where like the furthest away people might be from Columbus, Ohio?
I know we have quite a few folks from Europe. I think when the stream first started, we had somebody from Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia. Okay. So we're worldwide, man. This is pretty cool.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna jump over to the chat and see how things are looking. Yeah. All right, so here's my main chat window. How are we doing? Oh, How's the chat looking? Whoa, we have a super chat. Okay, so this is the very first super chat I have ever experienced on YouTube. Christopher, thank you so much. This is super unexpected. Christopher says, can't stick around too long today, but we'll watch the whole video this week. Thanks for all you do for the large format world. Thank you so much, Christopher. So that was a super chat. That's a way to contribute to the channel, and it highlights a chat and throws it up to the very top of the chat. That is a monetary contribution. You can do that a couple different ways. You can do it through YouTube super chats. You can become an LFF sustaining member by going to marrash.com/memberships. But thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. All right, so Stephen, we have folks from the UK. Okay. Let's see. One of the OG LFF subscribers, Mr. Olaf, he asked, "Does Stephen run a YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel?"
I do not have a YouTube channel, but you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Brownie in Motion, like Brownie, like the camera. Some years ago, I made a giant Brownie camera that it's like the size of a small shed that you can. Go inside and experience kind of the inner workings of a camera, or make some really big pictures.
Nice. All right, I'm going to see if Laura can get your website. Okay, so we have folks from Greece, Bulgaria, Canada. This is pretty cool. Yeah, so the Brownie is an amazing, amazing camera. I'm going to actually see if I can find your site real quick. I'm going to plug in my. All right, I'm just going to put the lav down. Hopefully you don't hear my clickety-clacketing too much. Okay. Brownie in Motion. Stephen, I am so jazzed to have you hanging out with me today, man.
Glad to be here. Yeah. And excited to make some platinum prints.
Yeah. Well, you have a .org. I didn't know you had a .org for Brownie in Motion.
I don't really use that one much anymore.
Oh, okay. I'm using DuckDuckGo, and I'm still trying to get used to like it serving me like page 3 Google stuff. All right, I'm throwing up Stephen's link. You guys all better. I'm not on IG, so you guys need to go over and follow the crap out of him on IG to make up for my lack of IG. So there's Stephen's Brownie in Motion Instagram page. You can see all. Oh, perfect. Yes. Yeah. What's Stephen? What lens are you using on the Brownie?
Well, I often use an old Grunlech view camera lens. I think it's like a 16-inch, 17-inch lens.
Okay, so is it one of those convertible Gunlick lenses, or it's a single element type lens, or?
It's got multiple elements.
Okay.
It doesn't really break down so well, but
nice.
Yeah, recently picked up an old copy lens that I'm excited to try on it later this summer.
All right, keeping us in suspense. That's awesome. All right, we're up to 87 folks in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. This madness that you're watching right now is Large Format Live. We're here up at 400 West Rich in Columbus, Ohio. I'm gonna mic myself back up and try to get close to Stephen whenever we have questions. But there we go. We have a question from, let's see. Oh, wow. Greetings from an Argentinian in Norway. There are folks all over the world that tune in for LF Large Format Live, which is just kind of wild.
That's awesome.
Red Tree Photography asks, what drives you to print a negative as platinum, palladium, cyanotype, or other silver gelatin? With the amount of negatives you produce, I'm assuming you print once and move on. You know, I really feel like the longer I do this and the more I shoot, the more of a hybrid shooter I become. I used to try to contact print everything, and then I looked at my budget and the stack of prints. If I talk too much about the stack of negatives and prints, Laura is going to end this live stream out of rage because there are negatives all over the house. There's a reason I didn't do the 3rd episode in my organization trilogy, because I'm not organized yet on storing my negatives and final prints. But anyway, I usually scan it. I try to do some sort of analog print from one from like a big shoot, and then I kind of move on. Now my older stuff, there was a time a few years ago where I kind of died for 2 or 3 weeks while I was sorting everything and organizing it, and I have some tables and a database file, but that hasn't been updated since 2017, so RIP. I've done a lot of shooting since then, and there's a lot of negatives that are very unorganized. I may have to like showcase the stack of those one of these days. Yeah, we have somebody from Saudi Arabia in the chat. This is pretty cool. Hamad, thanks for tuning in. Okay, Devin, thanks for stopping by today. I super appreciate it. Yeah, this is so much fun. Okay, so let's get organized. We just hit 90. We're almost at 100 people watching this live stream. This is pretty insane. So I'm gonna change over to my other camera here. Let's take a look at some negatives that you brought.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I've got the light table up over this way. There we go. I had to leave this autofocus. There's too much variance and all that yada. Cool. All right.
Coming at you in just a moment.
That's all right. Oh, and actually, we might have to just showcase how Stephen does his stuff, because he's a proper photographer. He has 4x5 negatives in his safety binder, but then the page after the negative has a contact print on there, because that's how you figure out what it is.
Well, I wish I would have realized that a long time ago. Or I did it at one point and then I stopped, and I'm recently trying to go back into.
Ooh, sorry, I'm just like sifting through. You should probably ask for a photographer's permission to go through their stuff, but I'm like grabbing.
Consent is important.
So what do we got today here, Stephen?
So this was, I was particularly looking at these images up here. They're from Wheeling, West Virginia. At one point a number of years ago, I was traveling through there a lot, and this home, I don't know if this is.
Yeah, or you can just throw them on the light table. I'll turn it down.
Yes, there was a major collapse. I had spoke to somebody who worked in the building across the street. I was like, what happened here? They said a hole had appeared in the side of this brick house.
Whoa.
And then a couple weeks later, like the whole wall came in. And so it's this sort of
nice.
bizarre dollhouse.
And this looks like it's FP4. Is that right? It's the 2 dots before the 1? Or is that HP5?
Oh, good question.
I can never remember.
I
know it's
I haven't been studying my notch codes recently.
I know it's one of the 2, but this looks cool. I think this one actually might be maybe right around what I'm kind of coding for today. So let's try this one and see how it comes out. Okay. On the print, and if we need to, we'll jump it up to this guy. So
that one's a little more dense, but
yeah, we got a little more density going on there. All right, I'm gonna jump to my first camera. Go back there, perfect. And we'll catch up with the chat, and then we're going to talk process. So I've already kind of given just a brief overview on Alt Pro for the folks at home, and I showed them some paper. This is, if you want to do your own alternative photographic process printing, you're going to want to have a paper that's pretty neutral. A lot of papers that you just go to the art supply store and buy, even ones that come in like a watercolor pad or in packs, they may have some sort of acid buffering on there, and you want to have a relatively neutral paper. The stuff I'm using today is Hahnemühle Platinum Rag. It is pretty much ready to go. It's the only paper I know of that you can like just crack it open and go instantly. Oh, and Stephen brought some extra fun toys.
What is this? A contact printing frame. I watched your other video, Matt. I saw you using a sheet of glass to make your negative and coated paper sandwich.
Yes.
This is another sandwich option, but the great thing about it is it has this back, which allows you to print by inspection a little bit. So you'll open this. Oh,
it just drops right in. Okay,
yeah, put your negative, your paper in here, put the back on, and so it keeps it nice and tight, helps hold the materials in contact. And then once you start printing, after say 5 minutes, if you want to peek at it,
you can like check it.
You can check how the printing is how it's coming out by carefully peeling back your paper, and these springs keep everything from moving.
Nice. Well, that is way better than the pane of glass, and I think folks in the comments of that video were giving me beef about using a giant slab of glass, but I was.
You work with what you have, though.
Yeah, I was kind of slumming it that day. So I did want to show you. I'm not sure if it'll come through on the video. Hopefully, it will. But I did pre-mark my paper a little bit. This is a big sheet of paper. These are watercolor paper comes in weird sizes. So for alt process printing, I like watercolor papers, but the sizing on those is not equal to the sizing that we do in a lot of traditional photography. The form factor of this paper or aspect ratio is 11 inches by 15 inches, and I need to make an 8 by 10, so that's kind of long. But what I did is I took a little pencil mark and I made little pencil marks right at the exact size of the negative, because platinum palladium, just a few drops, is a couple bucks. So you want to make sure everything is nicey nice. Okay, so let's see how our comments are looking. Teresa, yes, I very much, I really like the swing in that negative. Oh, hey, Tom, how's it going, man? All right. So Tom Thacker, he's here in Columbus. He said Wheeling is an excellent place for the rundown buildings and everything. So very, very cool. Okay, so we're going to head into the darkroom portion, and we're going to talk about creating our own emulsion and hand coating it onto some sheets. I'm going to coat a couple 8 by 10s, Stephen, and then what we'll do is we'll get my favorite little tool, that decal edge ruler, and we'll tear this in half, and we'll make some nice 4 by 5 ones for you.
Great. That
Perfect.
Sounds awesome.
Okay, cool. And actually, while I'm coating that, how about I have a pencil over here somewhere? Yeah, just go ahead and mark some area for 2 4 by 5s, and then we'll tear that up once I'm done coating.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. All right. So Olaf's asking, have we ever tried carbon printing, and which one do you prefer, carbon or platinum? I love carbon, but I haven't done it in so long. The one that I can kind of like turn on and pick up easiest is platinum palladium, and I think it's a little bit quicker. Carbon printing, so I mentioned alternative process, you usually want to give yourself a couple hours, maybe a half day. Carbon, not the case. You want to take a few days for carbon printing. I think the fastest I was ever to make start to finish, from hand making the emulsion, this custom gelatin non-metal emulsion.
Sorry, I'm just kicking everything.
That was like the sound effect with the kitchen sink going down.
Just some trays.
It's fine. So carbon is fantastic, but right now I'm not set up for the laborious 2 to 3 day process that is hand making carbon. If you do want to see a fantastic carbon photographer who does have some videos and actively is doing workshops out of Spain, check out the work of Mr. Calvin Greer. He's insanely talented. He's even doing color carbon. All right. Very, very cool. All right, so I'm gonna head into the main darkroom, and we're gonna get coating. So step on in, everybody. Welcome to the darkroom. And you notice it's not dark. It doesn't need to be dark. We just need to keep out a good amount of ultraviolet light. So I have like one incandescent bulb up in the corner here, and I've got my sheet. I just have this flat bottom tray just to make sure I have a pretty even surface. It's nice if it's level. This tray has kind of a dip to it, so my chemicals are probably going to flow this way. But let's make some photographic emulsion. So for platinum palladium, we need our metal salts, which are sodium platinum and our palladium salt. And then we also need a sensitizing agent, which in the case of this process, we need ferric oxalate. And this stuff I did mix. This is the same stuff I mixed for the episode on platinum palladium on Large Format Friday, and that's mixed with ferric oxalate. And it took a long time to go in solution. I read some tips from some photographers online where I had to like keep shaking this stuff up and wear it in my pocket to keep it warm all day long. So to make a photographic emulsion that covers slightly larger than an 8 by 10 inch negative, which is about an 8 by 10 inch area, I need 20 drops of my ferric oxalate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out 20 drops. Now, if you want to save as much chemistry as possible and you want to be super exact, you can get a really cool scientific tool on, I think you can buy them on Amazon. It's called a micro pipetter. So it's a pipette, which is a very, very teeny, fine glass pipe, which deposits exact drops. There's a little clicker on top, and it deposits like very, very precise amounts if you want to know how much is in exactly a drop. I'm not that exacting, so I'm going to go a little bit looser. I'm actually going to pull my paper out for a sec here. Going to hide it. There we go. So I can mix up my emulsion. So I would need 20 drops of ferric oxalate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so 20 of that. And usually you want to take equal amounts of your sensitizer and your metal salts. And in traditional platinum palladium printing, you would put a mixture of platinum and palladium. This is kind of the sodium platinum method. So you're using a lot of palladium and then a very, very small amount of sodium chloroplatinate, and that's going to give you a really big contrast boost. Anyway, 20 drops of my palladium solution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Perfect. All right. One last step. I'm going to take my sodium platinum solution. This bottle from the Bostic & Sullivan kit has lasted me years. I've had this specific one since 2015, and I've done quite a bit of printing because you only need 1 or 2 drops. In the case of the negatives I'm using, I'm going to use 1 drop. The more drops I'm going to use, the more I'm going to crank the contrast. And if I go too far, well, it's going to be, it's not going to have the right look or feel. I'm going to swirl it around. Gosh, I feel like I should just email Pyrex for sponsorship opportunities. I love these little measuring shot glasses. I use this for everything. Measuring out my metal salts, my PyroCat HD, which is my film developer. They're excellent. All right, I did get a little bit in the tray. Make sure that's all clean. I'm going to make sure my brush is damp. So just touch it in the distilled water. Has to be distilled water, otherwise you can get some weird reactions going on, and you don't want that happening. I'm going to do a little bit of a brush off. See that yellowing? That's money right there, unfortunately. All right. The other cool thing about the Hahnemuhle Platinum rag, there's no right or wrong side. I'm just going to go by the ones where I've got my 4 markings. So I've got that. Let's get a coat going. So I'm going to spread this across, just kind of draw a bead, and then start brushing back and forth. All right, and so what I'm doing is I'm now brushing very gently, brushing this emulsion back and forth along the paper. And everybody has their own opinion and methods and superstitions that they use to get the perfect coating. I found when you're first getting it going, just try to get a ballpark of the area. And now what I'm doing is I'm alternating directions. I'm kind of going clockwise. So then up, brush up. All right, I'm brushing up, brushing right. And see how this is spreading out? There we go, brushing right and brushing down. See how those lines are starting to disappear? If you still see lines, keep brushing. Brush until the streaks go away. Left. Real nice and gentle. There we go. Uh-oh, I already did down, but it's okay. Nobody's watching, just a bunch of people worldwide. They're probably cringing at how...
Just 88 people.
Just 88? Oh man, we got to work on that, guys. Come on. All right. Go in here. I'm gonna go up again. There we go. Get rid of some of that extra streaking. Good. Nice. Okay. A real gentle touch is going to go a long way. Now, you can go more critical as far as coating. I know Mr. Stephen Tack is here. He uses a coating rod, also known as a puddle pusher. That is a very, very precise way to coat. It's closer to how commercial paper was created, and that's to make sure you deposit an exact, even amount of your solution onto the paper to prevent streaks. Now, I don't care too much about streaks. I don't shoot a lot of pictures with like clean, even skies. And come on, man, brush marks. Who doesn't love brush marks? I'm adding extra brush marks in the corners. This is looking good. Okay, let's get those little... I don't like the longer streaks. I'm okay with shorter streaks, but the really, really long ones that go all the way across, not a fan. Okay, so that's coated. And it should have like, well, it actually matches the tray. It's got like a yellowish orange appearance. It's going to get a deeper, deeper brownish orange as it gets exposed. I'm going to put this in a dark area. All right. So paper is lying around. And I'm going to get my ruler here, and then we'll cut back to the main cam and answer any questions and kind of catch up with folks who might just be joining us. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Large Format Live. I'm your host, Matt Marrash. I also do the Large Format Friday channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, each and every Friday, we talk about something different in the world of large format photography. I'm here live at 400 West Rich here in Columbus, Ohio, and we're printing platinum palladium. I just got done coating a sheet with a lot of money's worth of noble metals to make a really cool print for you guys live. It's almost going to feel anticlimactic, but hey, we're going for it anyway. Hey, we're at 95. All right, keep it going, guys. Share those links. Let's see if we can get up to 120 folks. That's the goal to beat for this time around. Let's see. Laura, how have we been on questions? All right, Laura, thanks for dropping the links to the previous videos on platinum palladium. Perfect. Olaf, I totally agree. Calvin is like a undisputed master of color carbon printing, which is another alternative photographic process, which gives you, the photographer, excruciating amounts of control over color tone, whether it's black and white, color separation. It's just, whoa, that's it. We hit 100. We're triple digits now. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Jay, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, have any questions? Have anything to say? I'd love to, yeah. Let me know if you have any questions. Carl asked, how much would you say materials for one 8x10? So every 8x10 platinum palladium you make, good, bad, indifferent, pretty much every 2 drops is $1. So I just used 41 drops. So it's about, the raw cost, it's about 22 bucks. So, that's without the paper itself.
Yeah, which is another.
The paper has another cost. So actually, I think the Hahnemuhle Platinum Rag, yes, this stuff is, I have 25 sheets of this stuff. 25 sheets is 75 bucks, so it's $3 a sheet. So I would say rounded up, your hard costs are 25 bucks. That's just chemicals and paper, but you also have to have an ultraviolet emitting source. You need a UV printing source. And if you want to learn how to make one for less than 100 bucks, get subscribed and check out the UV process printing video that I did back, I think it was like February or March at this point.
Yeah.
And this is your first time using it, right, Steven?
Yeah, I've been excited to finally try this out.
Well, don't get too excited. The woodcraft on this thing is shoddy. It's old, really bad built-in cabinetry that I very, very scantily converted. But The most important part is the bulbs. These are bulbs that I found on Amazon through a link on Mr. Tim Layton's blog, and I think the price of them's even gone down. It's like just under $60 it's just under $30 for 4 bulbs, and there's 8 bulbs in there. And that 8 bulbs is going to make up to a 20 by 24 inch contact print, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the great thing about using a system like that versus like the sun is a great source of UV light,
Yes.
but that's so much more repeatable. The sun goes in and out of clouds. We just don't know what it's going to do on a given day.
Yeah, I mean, today's a perfect example. When I was setting up for the live stream, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and then it got partly cloudy, and now it's like complete terrible overcast. That is the cost of living in Ohio. Clear skies, something is wrong. Like there's hardly ever that. And the difference in exposure time on Platinum could be anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes in direct sun, all the way up to 20, 30 minutes on like a super dreary overcast day. So we just don't know what it's going to be. Again, this is an alternative photographic process. This is a contact printing process, meaning we need to have a negative that we want. If we want a big print, we need a big negative. You can do this a couple different ways. I still make, my own black and white negatives. I try to process them to have the right amount of meat to make a good print, but you can also make digital negatives. For a series I did a few years ago that you can see on my website, it's called Ohio Uninterrupted. Half of those prints were process prints made with digital negatives because there was something I did. I was, sloppy with the camera work. A digital negative allows you to scan your film, make your corrections and stuff, and make a much more precise, repeatable negative. When it comes to things that are really expensive, like this Platinum Palladium that we're doing, it's really nice to know what you're gonna get. Sure, it's nice to experiment and get kind of whimsy stuff, but at a certain point, it becomes really heartbreaking when you don't get the print you're looking for. It's not a lot of fun. So we have some questions. Max Shoots Film, do you think you would do this type of live stream but doing salt prints? You're gonna get me to do salt prints one day, Max. I remember you asking me the last time when we were doing cyanotypes. It's really just not, it's not my wheelhouse. My amount of experience is not there yet. I will never pretend to be an expert on something I'm not. So with salt printing, it might be, hey, come mess around with silver nitrate live. But it's never gonna be, I'm the definitive answer. And even here with Platinum Palladium, I am not the definitive source on Platinum Palladium. I actually learned from another photographer, a fantastic artist out of Washington, DC, Mr. Scott Davis. He taught me how to do this sodium platinum process in 2015. And I also attended some workshops at the Photostock conference. You can check out more. I'm going to put it in there, photostockfest.com. If you go there, that's a conference hosted by Mr. Bill Schwab, where he will do like demonstrations. I watched him do platinum printing. I watched and exchanged platinum prints with Mr. Carrot Kuklis, the guy that's literally on the box for the Hahnemühle paper. So some like heavy hitters. It's a very small world here in large format photography. And even though there's, folks worldwide here, this isn't like a video game live stream where there could be thousands of people watching, right? It's a niche, tight-knit community. So the more we can talk to each other, exchange ideas, and work with each other, we're all going to bring that knowledge base up. All right, so. Sari asked, what's the difference between Palladium and Collodion? So wet plate Collodion, and actually, Stephen, you do some dry plate stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So that's a hand-coated, actually exposure process. So Collodion, either wet plate or dry plate, those are for creating a negative or a positive on there. And that process is really, really involved. And wet plates, the really popular one, it's called wet plate because your photographic emulsion is sensitized, and then you only have a few short minutes before the materials dry out, and you have to make your exposure and develop it all right there. It can be really, really tricky. I've done wet plate before, but I kind of suck at wet plate. I'm gonna leave that to the folks that are really good. And I have one of the best dry plate shooters I know right next to me here. And Stephen is like, he's the man at dry plate. Can you actually maybe elaborate some more on the differences with wet plate and dry plate?
Sure. Yeah. So wet plate, as Matt just said, everything, you coat the plate, you have to shoot it, process it all within a really short period of time. before the emulsion dries, or you're in some trouble. The really nice thing about working with dry plate is it allows you to, you can coat materials, like I use often anodized aluminum, and I'll heat up silver gelatin emulsion in the darkroom, coat it, and then I let it dry overnight. And then I can load it into holders and shoot it just like I would film. So like 4x5 film, 8x10 film, whatever particular size plate and camera I'm using.
Nice.
So it gives you more flexibility. You don't have to carry a darkroom with you whenever you're shooting.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, I remember when I tried to do it at first, I had a box made for me, and that box had all the stuff in it. And large format already has so much gear, and then you have to carry around all this other stuff, and you hope you're not going to like cause a chemical spill or explosion or something to make it happen. Now, is there any downside to doing dry plates versus wet plates?
I mean, like there's different sort of aesthetic qualities to them, you know, in tonality, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of a aesthetic thing, I think.
Cool.
A lot of what it comes down to.
All right, we do have to kind of break real quick, just
Okay.
because I've just been notified by Lore. Olaf, thank you so much, man. That is a crazy super chat. All I know is when I see the Euros symbol, that's way more than American money. And you just thank you for covering some of the materials on this. That's never the point of this stuff. I just want to give back and kind of give people an in-depth look into what it takes to make some of this stuff photographic wise. When I got started, you know, and really jazzed about film photography and looking on YouTube, there was all these really short videos. And for the longest time, YouTube was all short videos. And while that's nice and it can kind of give you, that inspiration, it never prepares you for the real thing. And now that we have the materials to do something like a live stream, you really get a more intimate look at what goes into it. You have to have this going on. You have to wait for this to dry. So I think there's a little bit more of like pulling back that curtain and really getting a feeling of what's happening, what's actually happening. Probably the closest thing to doing a workshop. I mean, this is kind of like a really messy workshop. A Matt Marrash workshop is never a clean one, so this is about as close as you're going to get. So thank you so much, Olaf, for that. Also, I wanted to just kick back a quick question with Sari on the Platinum and Collodion. So there is also, it's not to be confusing, Platinum is a printing only process. Collodion, there's actually a Collodion POP or printout process. And that's where you actually make a Collodion emulsion onto a paper, usually a really shiny Barita paper. I've personally never done that. As soon as I hear Collodion and Collodion printing, there's only one person in my mind that I think of, and that's Mr. Quinn Jacobson. He's been a big name in Collodion for a long time, and he actually hosts semi-weekly live streams on his YouTube channel. So it's Quinn, Quinn, and Jacobson. He has a lot of great stuff out there. I learned some of my DIY Collodion stuff from him. But actually, I guess I shouldn't say from him directly, just watching his videos. So I probably needed to take a few workshops to get better. All right, as far as other questions, let's see, just a sum of unpredictable results, cost now. Yep. Let's see, questions. Daniel, how would you get started in wet plate or dry plate? One thing at a time. Actually, Stephen, you mind fielding some of that question? What's a good way to get started? Actually, here, I'll send you over to this camera over here, and you can just talk right into it. It's gonna be great. How would you propose getting started in wet plate or dry plate? You just like look right at the lens, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was fortunate enough to get into dry plate when I was in undergrad in school, but of course, that's not an option for a lot of people. But there are a lot of people teaching workshops out there, particularly on Collodion. The Ostermans, I believe, in Rochester, they do workshops. There's the of course, I'm going to be blanking on names right now, but the Tintype Jamboree. Who does the Tintype Jamboree?
Oh, John Coffer.
John Coffer.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. John Coffer does workshops in New York. That's another option. If you're really interested in learning dry plate, send me an email. You can send me a message on Brownie in Motion, my Instagram page, or stephentakis.com, which is my website. Brownie in Motion might be easier to find because my name, though unique, it sort of stands out, but it is chronically misspelled. One last thing, I always like to, when I think about Collodion and carrying the darkroom, I always think about the early days of photography and like people doing surveys for the government, and what a crazy thing that would have been to be traveling across America with a mule, horses, packing in all your glass plates to travel to make pictures of the country in places that really had never been seen before from like the Eastern audience.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to fathom these days. But the fun thing about working with these processes is it sort of connects you back to that past a little bit.
Definitely. I have to chime in just real quick. Hi, Mom. Thanks for watching my live stream. This is pretty cool. This is what your son
Mom.
This is what your son does now. This guy always keeps me kind of out of trouble, or we get into our own unique trouble photographically. But this is so much fun. This is so cool. And I think you always remind me of that, is like this kind of photography isn't just an alternative way of doing things, but it's traditional, but you can add your own spin to it. Just because this stuff has been done for 150 years doesn't mean you can't add your own spin to it. That's the best part about photography.
Yeah.
We all have something to say. We all have a unique perspective. And if I made prints that looked like your prints and you made prints that looked like somebody else's prints, it wouldn't be very fun.
No.
It wouldn't be unique at all.
No, and that's the great thing about working with alt processes and other, darkroom based processes. I love it. Everything's unique. You're working with your hands. There's that more element of hand manipulation and chance that enters into the process that you often don't get working digitally. So that's, I think, what keeps me coming back, is these opportunities to explore and push, materials around.
See, guys, this is also what happens when you go and study photography. Stephen, that's your degree, right? This is what you're all about.
Yeah.
You even teach, or did teach, and do it. Yeah. I'm the DIY guy. Like I totally just fell into this, and Stephen this is what happens when you like learn your roots and learn from masters and go out on awesome expeditions across the country and stuff. So photography can open up those kind of things. I mean, heck, we're talking to 115 folks worldwide right now. Yeah, this is
awesome.
This is just
kind of great.
This is wild. All right, I'm going to put the mic back on, and I'm going to go grab. We got to get your paper coated.
Yes.
So I brought one of the most requested tools from and most asked about tool, which is hilarious because they were going to throw this out at work. Somebody just said, "Hey, do you want this?" It's this thing right here. This is called the double edge ripper. This is just a ruler. It's a sharp piece of acrylic on the edges, and what it does is it gives you a deckled edge. It creates these ridges which make the paper look like it's made like in a kind of a weird handmade mold, whereas your normal papers are just kind of straight off. So Stephen's got some 4x5 areas traced out. Oh, how many did you make on here?
Just 2. So I was thinking 4x5 there, 4x5 there. Is that what?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we can get 4 into here. So Stephen's better at math than I am. So yeah, we can get, I was thinking just give you a nice big wide area, but I guess that's more like for a 5x7. So yeah, we can get 4 on this sheet.
That's being economical.
Perfect.
So or you could do 2 4x5s and an 8x10 right there.
Oh, I could do an 8x. See, this is why we gotta invite guests on more often. I'm gonna cut to this camera here, and I'm gonna move this. I need a surface to do my double edge ripper. So the way this ruler works, it's pretty easy. You just set it down and you give it a tear. And if you want more decals, you use this more aggressive side, and if you want less decals, you do this. If you don't have one of these rulers, you don't have to pay $60 for one. All you have to do is wet the paper a little bit and then give it a tear on the edge of a surface. So let's see if I can get a good rip here. So I'm just going to put nice even pressure about halfway through. Pressure's on, and then we're just going to tear against the surface. You got to have good even pressure the whole time, and that's going to give us a sheet of paper that has a nice deckled edge. And we're gonna decal it one more time. This one can be a little dirtier because we're just ballparking half. Hey, to all of you LFF sustaining members, does this size look familiar? When I made those strudel prints for everybody during the cyanotype live stream. So I've got 2 sheets. Yeah, we'll coat 4. And this is great because what I'll do is if I needed 40 drops, math time. So I've got my paper ripped up so we can coat some stuff for Steven's prints. And oh man, we've been here an hour and we haven't started making prints. So I have to get some stuff rolling so we can go. I'm probably gonna do Steven's prints first and we'll save the 8x10s for later. No, we have to wait for them to dry. If I needed a total of 10 drops of each part A, part B solution for an 8x10, I would need a lot less for this guy. So a total of 40 drops for an 8x10, I would only need 10 drops for each of these. So it's gonna be, we're gonna go, what's that, 5 drops of each?
Yeah, I don't know what mix you're using.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing the new sodium platinum. So
is it like a 1-to-1?
Yeah, it's 1-to-1. So I ended up, I did 20 of A, 20 of B, and then 1 drop of the sodium platinum, the contrast agent.
Yeah.
So that means if I did 20 and 20, I would do 5 of each. Math, divide by 4. Okay, I'm gonna pay some service to the chat here. Welcome some folks that are coming in. Whoa, Ainsley, hey, coming at you from Trinidad and Tobago, which is awesome. This is pretty cool. Workshops for books. Arpan, thank you for the question. So are there any resources other than my channel or books that we can refer to? I would recommend heading over to alternativephotography.com. That's an excellent resource. Tons of free tutorials. Oh my gosh, who's the lovely lady who has like a million books and they're all amazing on alt process printing? Is it Jill Enfield?
She does, yeah, she has.
Yeah, Jill Enfield has some fantastic books on alternative process printing. But
I'm a big fan of Christopher James's books. It's like a big alt process Bible.
Yeah, that's like the encyclopedia, right? Just A to B processes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another way to get a little bit better with alt process printing. So what we're gonna do, yes, artsy fartsy stuff indeed. All right. Any other questions? Saved it was too straight. That's all right. I'm fine with only a couple deckled edges. It makes it look a little more artsy on there. We're going to head in quickly and get those coating. And while Steven's coating, I'm actually going to prepare my first exposure on 8x10. Try to do a little bit of double duty. So Steven, if you want to take this guy and head into the darkroom, don't worry, I'm not going to let you hang in there. We'll get you started.
Okay.
So, all right. So I'm doing 5 drops ferric. So on this one, 5 drops of ferric oxalate, 5 drops of the palladium salt.
Okay.
And then one drop of this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Copy that.
Maybe even like a half drop. I don't know.
I don't know if it does that unit.
Yeah. You like squeeze it out and just do like a bubbly drip or something on there. And then there's the Hake brush if you need to give it a dip and a wipe off on there. So sweet.
Cool.
All right, no pressure. There's just a bunch of people that you've never met that.
And I haven't brushed in a long time, but
that's fine.
It's all right.
Don't worry, it's not your metal salt. So, all right. And while Steven's doing that, whoa, kick the camera. I'm gonna just show the camera real quick. This is our previously coated 8x10 little magic of television going on here. What it looks like. It should be a little bit darker than the stuff that Steven's about to coat. And so while he does that, I'm going to put this in contact for a total of 5 minutes. So Steven, if you want to get going, I'm going to get the contact print frame and get printing. So I'm going to maybe narrate for Steven right now. He's dripping in one of his part A solutions. All right. If you hear any noises, my apologies. All right, so he's got 5 drops. 5 drops ferric oxalate in. Now he's getting the palladium solution going. Looking good. How's the chat doing? So Chopper in the chat, I wonder if a t-shirt with an image of strudel on front would be a good fundraiser. Strudel t-shirts. I don't know if I know a lot of people who would wear a Strudel t-shirt, so I can definitely see that. We've already got folks putting in for some. That is just fantastic. All right, Steve. Whoa, he's got the coating down, so his emulsion's good, and he's getting ready to start brushing. Let's watch his technique. Ooh, look how soft and gentle that control is. That puddle has no control. It is all Steven here. He is, man, that hasn't coated in a while. Look at that. It's just like super smooth. There's no streaks. My goodness, what a guy. All right, so, oh, Peter, thanks for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. Jacob says, oh man, I feel like the chat is gonna start making Strudel merch before I even offer it. This is amazing. All right, I'm gonna cut away from Steven real quick. Steven, you're doing a fantastic job. It has nothing to do with your performance on the coating. So I've got the contact printing frame here. So easy way to work with this. I'm gonna unlock my little metal springs here. I'm gonna flip it while holding both sides. And when I flip it, what that's gonna do, it's gonna allow me to move the frame off. And then you can see I've got a very thin pane of non-UV glass, and then I have like this soft mat underneath it. What I'm going to do is set my negative down in a sandwich with the coated paper. You got that one coated?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just put it on the chair over there.
Yeah.
Dry.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to get, oh, did you have other sheets?
Yeah.
Sweet, go ahead and there's a few more to coat.
Thanks, sir.
So I've got my paper. I'm gonna work kind of quickly here, and I'm gonna go with the negative I wanna print, which is this one right here. You see if I can just move everything over this way. Okay. Ooh, this paper is a smidge big for the contact print frame. That's fine. We'll use the print frame with Steven's prints. That's fine. It's because I used paper that's 11 by 15. That's my bad. This pane of glass hasn't failed me so far. Let's go for it. Okay, chat, I'm counting on you. We need 5.5 minutes on the clock. So I'm laying the negative down, shiny side up, also known as emulsion side down. Make sure my glass isn't too dirty. Set my glass down right on top, give it a nice smush. That looks good. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5.5 minutes. And you can see there's quite a bit of purpley UV light coming out of it. All right, hey, we still have 100 folks here watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. The crazy stuff you're seeing happen right now, this is Large Format Live. We are doing some alternative photographic process printing. We're actually making pictures. Why would you use digital stuff to make pictures? That's my jam. That's what this whole channel is about. I'm your host, Matt Marrash. I have my buddy, my really good friend, Mr. Steven Takis. He is coding. Oh, look at that. He's just cut right to Steven, just masterfully coding prints like it's no big deal. So he's doing that. I'm doing an exposure here. Of course, I didn't set a timer, so hopefully, oh, good. Laura started a stopwatch. Thank you so much, Laura. So yeah, we've got some exposures going. Hopefully this the second half's going to be like really whirlwind and doing a lot of coding and stuff. Let's see how the chat's looking. Hey there, guys. Lars, I've used a sodium platinum kit, but now have the traditional kit. Any thoughts on how do I control contrast with conventional negatives in the traditional kit? So with traditional platinum palladium, the way you control contrast is the ratio of your platinum and your palladium solutions.
There's a second.
Oh yeah, come on out, Steven. Steven's got the answer. Here, let me get the mic going.
I'm blanking in the Bostic and Sullivan kits for the traditional mix. There's a second. You have your ferric oxalate one, and then there's a second. I think it's ferric oxalate, but it's a contrast control agent. So it's depending on the density of your negatives, you could adjust like the ratio of 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, and 3, and then it's
yes.
a standard solution. That's right. And there's also, I watched I watched a video series. I think it's still on YouTube here. The photographer is Tony Hauser, I believe. Really neat German accent and kind of goes into platinum palladium printing. He was controlling contrast of a variety of digital and analog negatives, and he was doing it by varying the 1 and 2, the platinum palladium, but he also had different potassium oxalate developers. So different concentrations and additions of restraining agents in the developers, and he would do things like superheat his developer for one look versus another. I like the sodium platinum process because the only decision I have to make is how many drips of the sodium platinum and how hot do I want my developer. So a warmer developer literally makes a warmer print. I like it more neutral, a little bit more brownish black, but if I want to make it like Van Dyke Brown, but way more expensive, I can also just superheat the developer to do that. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Alan said you can use dichromate, so sodium or potassium dichromate. That's going to be your contrast agent in there. Very cool. Joseph, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, this is going to be the archived version that we'll keep on the channel for a while there. Perfect. Okay. Hey, Lord, how are we looking on the stopwatch? I think we're pretty close. Hopefully, let's see. Can I see a timestamp on that chat? I can't. Uh-oh. Well, this should be fun. I think I've got another minute and a half or so. Oh yeah, actually somebody mentioned that in the chat. So what I'm going to do is after the first develop one, while that's rinsing, we'll talk about cheater drying. That's cool. Okay, chat says I got another 2 minutes, so I'm gonna make sure. Actually, I'm gonna get my phone out. I'm gonna use modern technology to my advantage. Okay. All right, let's get the old timer rolling here. Good. All right, stopwatch. I'm gonna use this a little bit more next time, guys. Thank you. And actually, after we do this first print, Stephen has another cool little tidbit on platinum palladium to share with everybody. One way to kind of help maybe a shorter printing session work out a little bit better. Cool. All right. How's the chat looking? Chat's looking good. Fantastic. All right, we got a little bit longer. So what's going to happen after I'm done with the right amount of exposure time with my platinum print? Well, once that's done, I'm going to bring it into the darkroom and I'm going to hit it with a chemical developer. That chemical developer, and this one is potassium oxalate. What that's going to do is it's going to help keep those metals that were given the right amount of exposure. It's going to deposit those into the emulsion of the paper. That's why we have to coat the emulsion and let it seep into the paper. It's actually going to drop those noble metals onto the paper in proportion to the density of our negative. So the areas that were more transparent are going to go darker. The areas that were more dense, light's not going to penetrate as much, and that's going to give us a lighter area in the print. It should be instantaneous. This developer hits and only goes for, oh man, I got people counting down for me, 15 seconds. Thank you so much, chat. This stream is for you, and its success is all because of you. So thank you so much. Okay, so I'm counting down as well. All right, Brad says now, we're going now. All right. Okay, so I'm pulling my negative out. Brad, I think you're spot on here, man. All right. So hopefully you guys can see what this looks like. The print is very faint. It's got a ghost image to it, but that ghost image is going to be intensified. Let's head into the darkroom space. Looks like Steven's still doing a little bit of coding there, but that's okay.
Number 3.
Oh, it's number 3? Okay, cool. So, all right, we're gonna wait for Steven to finish his coat. This is a good moment for me to grab a sip. Fantastic work, Steven. Steven might be making more prints today than I am. Or if not, he can always take those papers home with him. Coated papers will last a little while. You can throw coated papers in the dark cabinet and kind of keep them for a minute. That's kind of cool. Or you can just use them right away. I prefer using them right away just to eliminate any chance. So I'm going to step on into the dark room. There's our ghost print. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better there. These are definitely really, really dense areas. I'm going to move my metal salts out of the way. Okay, guys, unfortunately, this is not a pre-recorded video, so I don't have slow motion activated, but once the oxalate hits, that's it. The image is pretty much done. I'm going to put 2 minutes on my darkroom clock here, but it's not going to matter too much because, yeah, it pretty much comes out right away. I'm going to let it develop for roughly 2 minutes, but you'll see. Ready? Okay. Promise me you're doing a drum roll on the other side of this. So, okay, I've got my oxalate. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, man. Okay, so I have a print. It's a wee bit dark, and that's okay. This is telling me lots of good information. Okay, it's more than a wee bit dark. It's quite dark. So things I can do to make this negative work a little bit more for me, I can take, if I coat another sheet, I can take another drop or two of that sodium platinum and make that print out. And that's going to give me the right amount of contrast, I think. We're actually not too far off because this is going to lighten a little bit as I rinse it out, but not by much. All right. So it's like, it's really tempting. I see it, it's dark. It's like, okay, I know what to do, but I can't pull it yet. I just need to make sure that developing continues. Keep moving it around. Pull up the print a little bit. Very faint. Those highlights, they're not delicate, they're just dark. So I could reduce my exposure time a little bit more. I might even try one at 4 minutes and see how that goes. But I think it's really going to come down to the contrast of my sensitizer. So my options here, I can mess around with time. I can mess around with my sodium platinum, my last little drop or two, or I've got 9 more negatives. And I know which ones of those are a little bit more dense. So I can just slap one of those on there too and print from it. I may coat another one and make this guy happen, but I also want to get results that look good for you guys. This is, yeah, there's no magic here to this. This is just what we work with. So if I would have had more time prior to the live stream, what I would have done is printed through the Stouffer wedge to eliminate any variance to find out exactly where I needed to be. But this is fine. I don't want to have everything be perfect, because if it was, it would set a really, really unhealthy expectation for you guys at home. All right, I'm going to put this into some water, rinse. That's going to rinse for 4 to 5 minutes with some warmer water. This is a little bit warmer than room temperature. And then I'm going to put it through a series of baths of tetrasodium EDTA, which is a kind of a mild acid, and that's going to help clear out more of the unused sensitizer that was left over. So I'm going to get this guy rinsing, and what I'm also going to do is that third option I talked about, which is making a print with a negative that has a little bit more meat, a little bit more density. I'm going to change my, actually I'll rinse my hands off real quick, dry them off, and go to a second print. All right, the second print. Where's the other paper hanging out? I think I have one in here. Haha. Got another paper in here. We're going to head out, start another exposure. So there's my second one right here. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to keep my eyes on that timer. Be hawkish about it. Okay. You know what? I'm going to use this negative, which looks super dense, but I think that fog is going to come out just right on this one. Bring this guy in. Okay. Oh, you know, maybe I don't want to use this negative. It's all right. We're already coated. We're already exposing. Let's drop that down. Okay. All right. Got my stopwatch now. And go. All right. So don't worry, guys. I've got a stopwatch on it now. That's analog. Perfect. Nice, nice. All right. Yeah, maybe I don't want to cut to that shot. Actually, Stephen, do you have some folks, or do you have something you wanted to show the rest of the folks here?
Yeah, I could plug it in the darkroom.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So for everybody out there in the chat, Stephen's got a fun little demo thing he wants to do for you guys, and hopefully I can do that and get some more rinsing of that that first fail print. Oof, Olaf, I'm sorry. I feel like I wasted your super chat on a fail print, but we're gonna get better. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get a nice looking print today. All right. So I'm gonna pull my mic here, and I'm gonna give the mic to Mr. Tackett here.
All right.
So
I'm going to see if I can clip this onto my shirt real quick.
oh yeah, just give it a clip. And what I'll do is I'll move the camera so you can kind of like talk to it without like leaning over awkwardly.
Okay, great.
There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody. If you're in a time crunch and you want to dry your paper a little faster, something you can do is use a hairdryer on the cool setting. You do have to, use caution when you're doing it. You don't want to contaminate your materials. Tiny flakes of metal can occasionally come out of hairdryer, so just, be careful. So just gonna put this on low setting and cool, and you can just gently hit your print with a hairdryer, and it'll help kind of speed up the drying process so you can get to printing faster. And this is something you can also do with like cyanotype. A variety of hand-coded processes. If you really want to be, safe and careful about it, if you hit it from the underside, you don't have to work less chances of any sort of contamination by microscopic pieces of metal. I mean, there's not tons to this, Matt, but it's a handy little trick if you don't want to be line drying things.
Of course, you don't want to dry them outside, right?
No, certainly don't want to dry them outside. The sun will cause a little bit of problems with that. Certainly would speed up the drying, but then you've just wasted some serious bucks.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks for that, Stephen.
Sure, no problem.
And one little thing about the hairdryer technique, I have a hairdryer that is only used for drying off alt process prints. It is not the same one I put in my hair because my hair should not be worth that much money. I shouldn't have that much rare metal. Where's my mic? It's dangling from me somewhere. There it is. Okay. Cool. So yeah, buy a cheap hairdryer. Don't buy like a really expensive one. Yeah.
I have always bought these at thrift stores. Like, don't spend money on it. Like, spend $5 maybe at most at the thrift store.
Great tip. Thanks, Stephen.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to move this back down to the tray over this way, get us ready for developing round two. One thing that I did while Stephen was working in the background, I moved from my water rinse bath, which now has a slight yellowish tinge from the extra sensitizer. I moved it to the tetrasodium EDTA, so also known as just our EDTA clearing baths. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to check on my timer here and see how my second exposure is going. Okay, things are looking pretty good. Let's talk to the chat here. Chat, hey there, Laura, welcome back. Color Analog said, well, Color Analog, thank you so much. I would send you the print, but it is not one I'm proud of. I don't give away prints I'm not proud of. There are some like B prints that I'd consider, but we can do better than that. I owe you guys, I owe over 100 people a better print here on today's live stream, so we're gonna get there. Let's see. There, yes, thrift store all the way. All right, do we have any questions that I missed here in the chats? Laura, we can do better. In fact, we're only 30 seconds away from having that second print done and ready. Sorry, I'm like looking everywhere. I'm just like checking batteries and making sure nothing is gonna like die on me. And actually, I have one camera that is about to die, so I'm gonna cut that camera real quick. Change out my battery, looking at the timer, 15 seconds.
What a pro. Such speed and finesse.
Yeah, you got to have that hot swap. I learned this from a local cinematographer, Mr. Scott Spears here in Columbus, Ohio. ABC, always be charging your batteries. Okay, second print coming out. Gentle with the negative. Try not to scratch it. I had a really good question on last month's live stream. What do you do about the negatives? Do you try to protect the negatives? You can use a very, very thin piece of like 1 mil Mylar, but if it gets too thick, you may lose some of that sharpness. Contact prints do get sharper as your light source gets more pointed and the contact gets sturdier. If it's loose, there's any corners bubbling, it will considerably soften those areas in the print, which is no good. All right. Oh my gosh, Matt Day. Hey, how's it going, man? Yeah, we're doing some wild platinum palladium printing. I just made an exposure and we're going to head into the darkroom and see if I can do the chat some justice with a print. So this time around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-pour my potassium oxalate developer here. And I'm going to do a technique that I saw another fellow platinum printer and large format photographer, Ryan Gillespie. He'll tip it in and then let the developer just kind of flow on there. I don't think my tray is big enough for that, but let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna let it rip. Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, there it is. Steven, check this. Oh yeah, you can just go check it. Yes. This is what we like, guys. This is what it's all about. And you know what? This is what I find amazing, guys. I shot this when I made this picture in Hocking Hills, when I was like frantically going around trying to like make shots happen for the YouTube video. I was making this exposure to make a print like this. I made a comment in my last video about the act of like seeing in black and white. And what I mean by that is just you're able to have that feeling, that sense of light when you get somewhere and say, this process matches it. And I think this is probably the closest I've come to a moment of like pre-visualization, that Ansel Adams coined phrase that when he was making the photo, he saw the final print in his head. Now, I didn't see a platinum print coming, so I was like, do I have enough money to make that happen? But I did see a really soft, delicate, ethereal almost picture in my head. And that's exactly what we have here. If I take it out of the drink, no highlights were blown in the making of this print. They're delicate, and the shadows are also delicate. So when I scanned this looked like crap. I had to really, really work on it. And the same would be true if I tried to make a silver gelatin print. It would just not have that same range. But because that platinum print builds into that emulsion and the shadows mask themselves as more and more light hits, you just get this lovely, lovely atmosphere. And man, this oxalate's cold. I kind of like it. It's still a bit warm. I think this paper is also kind of warm tone. All right, we're gonna drip it off a bit more. And we're gonna drop it in. And now, of course, Steven's been like staring at me making prints. And I lured him here with the promise of him making free prints. So we're gonna get to some nice 4x5s here. And actually, after seeing what we saw with those negatives, let's go with the denser one of your West Virginia negatives. I think that's gonna come out better.
Cool.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna shift our trays. So I've got one in a water rinse. I've got this first EDTA sodium. See, it's too dark. We're going to put that in the second EDTA, and we're going to let this one clear for a few more minutes, basically while Steven's next exposure happens. So, oh, he's ready. He's got this.
I haven't loaded it yet, but yeah.
Well, let's head back out. We'll load it. I'll hit up some more folks, say hi, hellos in the chat, and we'll get exposing. So if you want to head out there, and I'll be right out. Cool, let's change the camera angle here. Reset it. Okay. How's chat feeling? Oh man, yeah, see guys, it worked out. Oh man, we lost some folks along the way, but everybody, thanks for tuning in so far. Wow, our ambient light really dropped out. Hold on, I'm gonna make some
Thank goodness we're using the exposure unit and not using the sun today. This would be really a tough go.
This would be rough. Oh, I'm roasted, toasted, and burnt to a crisp now. I'm going to turn down my key light a little bit here. Okay, so what Steven's doing here, actually, I'm going to move the camera and focus on him a little bit more. And da-da-da. Cool. All right, Stephen.
All right. So I have my 45 negative here. Oh, getting clipped in. Oh, yeah, got a pocket. Perfect. So I'm taking my negative. I've got the notch code on the right side in my right hand. And I'm going to put it, so that's emulsion side facing me. I'm going to flip it around, emulsion side down onto my paper. And then I just take that and carefully place it in the contact frame. And then I can take my back here, drop one end in, I'll lock it in, and I'll just double check if I feel good about that orientation. I think that feels pretty good. So I will lock it in completely. And we're ready to toast it.
Sweet.
What was your last time, Matt?
I did 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Yeah. All right, so we'll go with that time. And wish us luck, everybody.
All right, and the switch is right on the side there.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Got it. Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Let's head back into. Actually, let me make sure chat's doing okay. Maintaining everybody here.
Here's your
Oh,
device.
Thank you, thank you. I need actually to refocus as well. Actually, Stephen, you want to sit where I'm sitting? Hey, there we go.
Look at the chat here. Hi, Michael from Germany. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Mark, as in standard darkroom printing, emulsion to emulsion. Yeah, that leads to a sharper image. What? 420 for perfect results? Are we? Is it 415 right now? Or?
Oh man, yeah, we must be there. Actually, the exposure's still like a little bit hot. Let me get the lighting. Oh yeah, there's the lighting. All right,
there it is. All
Stephen,
right.
thank you, sir. What a joy to have a co-host and someone who knows my my manic mannerisms as well. So this is fantastic. Hello, Nikos. Hello from Greece.
Oh,
We got somebody from Greece.
Cool.
Jay Vlad, thank you, sir. Color analog, can you use a weaker version? So that's a really good question, Color Analog. I've never tried to use any sort of chemical reducer. My first thought is because you're dealing with a non-reactive or noble metal, you might not have the same results as using a reducer, because a reducing agent like Farmer's Reducer uses a really strong acid to kind of pull that out of the emulsion. It's kind of eating away at that gelatin emulsion. I don't think you would have as much success with a platinum palladium. I think it is just, there it is. By the way, that failure first print I made is like permanent. That print is gonna last as long as the paper it's on. So when I'm long gone, when this archived thing is but a memory in everybody that's forgotten by everyone, the print will probably still persist unless I like burn it or something. I'm not gonna do that. Let's see how your time's looking, Stephen. All right, we're coming up, we're about halfway.
Okay.
Cool, how's the chat looking? Matt, thanks for the compliment. This is what it's all about. I love sharing this process with you guys and just, yeah, feeling the love, feeling the hype from everybody out there. If you're not in a place where you can print, hopefully you can live vicariously through the printing processes. But why I love sharing this is what gets me hyped about doing the process is the fact that there's pressure. Like, oh my gosh, there's people from all around the world watching, and we're making prints. Okay, we're just under 3 minutes. Let's see. Hi from Germany, it's Michael. Hey man. All right. Let's see. 420 perfect result. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Stephen is like the co-host I've desperately needed on LFF for a long time. So I'm guessing we're going to see him in future videos because we've been chipping away at some stuff behind the scenes too. I actually saw you share your first thing of it on social media today.
I did.
Yeah. So Stephen is actually my partner in crime when it comes to experimenting back and forth with the RA4 reversal process. I haven't done an update on that on the channel in a long time. So if you're just tuning in, by the way, welcome to Large Format Live. My name is Matt Marrash. I'm the host of Large Format Friday, and I would love to be able to regularly do this once a month, but every now and then we do Large Format Live, which is usually me printing. We're doing something to share and give back. A few times last year I did some live shooting, but there's so much disconnect because you still have to generate a negative. What I love about printing is you get to see the print pretty quickly. Shadow Clasher, hey, what's going on? We're making prints. We're here in the darkroom, spending money. Let's see, Floris, going underneath the cloth for an 8x10 camera messes up. So that is, yes, it very much does mess up the do. And that's why when you see me do my large format fieldwork episodes, I have a playlist on the channel for it. I barely ever do my hair. One, because I'm usually getting up at the butt crack of dawn to make it there, even while it's still dark. But yeah, any amount of time under the dark cloth just does this. And also, I don't like hats. So if my hair is as tall as a hat, I can at least kind of feel like the other film YouTubers who all have hats and a lot more facial hair than me. So that's kind of a thing. All right, we're 15 seconds out.
Okay.
So I'll count it down for you guys. Wero, a lab push rewound CDU2 over came back with basically just the magenta red left. Any idea what could have happened? Or just, ooh, I may have to take a close look at that. All right, Steven, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So Steven's gonna get his print all the way out. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're doing alternative photographic process printing, which is a non-silver gelatin process that requires UV light. And thank goodness we're inside because it almost looks like it's gonna rain. It's like, it's so dark I had to change my lighting in my camera.
I think it did.
Actually,
I see
it is
some
raining.
droplets.
There it is. Yeah, so it's like raining today.
I was just thinking that it might be kind of cool to show the kind of reveal of the split back.
Yeah, actually here, if you wanna sit in my spot and just reveal it to the folks in the chatterino. So right here.
So as I mentioned before, this is a contact printing frame, which has a split back. So my negative and my sensitive paper is on this side. So over here, we're going to unlock one of these, carefully slide it back.
Oh.
And
so it's being held with just enough that, here, turn it, that's all right.
It's hard to, so I can see a faint ghost image of the roof line right there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is nice, particularly if you're using the sun and you don't have a controllable resource.
UV source, yeah.
You can kind of guess and check this way.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
I think that looks good.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
let's change our camera angle and let's get this in the drink. I have to change some trays around and stuff too. So, here we are. Yeah, 5 minutes later. Oh, sorry if I set the bar, man. No, before if I was gonna look great.
That's your second one.
I know, exactly. Everybody gets one. And it's on my dollar, so it's all right. It's all good. Oh man, I want to make another print. Actually, wait, you have a contact print frame, and I have a giant pane of glass. Why don't we do a print at the same time? Because there's enough space in that printer. We probably could.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Cool. All right, let's get ready.
I'm gonna
Let's
set this up here.
Sweet.
Clean-ish.
Ish is probably the best case scenario here. All right, let's take a look.
All right.
Good vibes from all over the world. Come on, guys.
Here we go, guys.
Hey, that's, yeah.
All right.
It's coming in. This actually looks pretty close to the contact print. It's definitely a little bit like softer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that you still have your D-Max, like the really black parts, but the highlights are really, really they just roll off really, really subtle. Exposure-wise, we might be able to do what? What are you thinking, like 4.5?
Maybe. Quick peek out of the. Let's look out of the slurry.
Yes, it is pretty dark. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. And for the folks at home that are watching this, okay, some crazy alchemy is going on. We just did a UV exposure through a negative. Now, Steven's negatives are slightly different from my negatives. It's actually the reason that I go through all the trouble with a lot of my negatives. I use a developer for my negatives that's called a staining developer. It's called Pyrocat HD. It creates a color tan, kind of a stain that sits in the film, and that actually helps prevent some of that ultraviolet light. And it helps in this type of printing process. So what we'll do is once we're done rinsing this one off, or we're almost done with the developer here. Once we're done rinsing that off, we're going to jump to the light box and we'll show a little bit of difference about both of those. And then we'll make some more prints and probably wrap up the stream because we've been going at it, man. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm told it's air conditioned here in this part of 400, but man, it doesn't feel like it. That's questionable.
Not in this particular room, but
no, certainly not. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's looking good. Let's get that in the drink. And hopefully if we tip the tray, you can probably see it's definitely a little bit more yellow than clear. And that's from all of that excess sensitizer that was not fully converted or exposed to ultraviolet light. That's a good sign. What we will change out some of the water in there. I don't want it to be nasty forever. Oh yeah, that looks like a much better print when it's sitting against the white tray.
Yeah.
And that's going to clear out and get a little bit lighter. We're going to get a little bit of that yellowing coming out. Well, cool. All right, so we're going to add just a bit more water. All right. Oh, yes, please. All right, so while Steven's doing that, I'm going to check in with the chat, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit about the difference in negatives a little bit. Laura, thanks for coming in clutch with the plug on the large format Friday sustaining memberships. Yeah, for more details on how to support the kind of crazy stuff you're viewing here. I also have for this chat some super chats enabled. We had some awesome LFF regulars contribute. That's awesome, keeps things going, keeps me buying more chemicals and more film and all that stuff to bring to you guys. So let's see, how is the questions coming? Oh, color analog. Cyanotype toning is awesome. And, if you want to see some great examples of toning cyanotypes, I don't know if she's still watching, but Amanda, if you're still watching, drop a link to your Instagram. Amanda Fields Maynard. She has some fantastic stuff. She's just a really, really cool film photographer and just a really great person. So, yeah, check out her work on there. So Brad, I did a contact print in the sun once, leaning it up against something on the ground. When I looked at the print after it was dry, I could see blades of grass that were, oh no. Yeah, the sun being such a point light source for ultraviolet printing can cause those extra little shadows and everything to happen. But prints made in the sun or with a very, very point light source have a different little bit of oomph and punch to them that you might not get with a more diffuse source. I tend to like these LEDs because they are little diodes, they are little sharp sources, but there's lots of them. And I like the look of it for how much it costs. I own a plate burner, but it's huge and it uses 220 power, and it's just like, usually a lot of things in large format are cumbersome, but even if you only have like a sink and a couple of trays in a rack, you can make this stuff work. You don't have to have a completely blacked out space to do the kind of printing that we're doing here today. How's Steven doing? Okay, he's hair drying some prints in there. Very, very cool. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the negatives that were used for this printing, because I want to talk about what we're seeing in a negative versus what we actually get in an alternative photographic process print. This may shed some light into why photographers do the things they do. You already got one loaded up?
Oh, I didn't. I thought you wanted to compare the two.
Oh yeah,
I could load one up.
We're definitely going to be comparing. All right, so I got my light box coming up on here, and this is the negative that I printed with for my print, and then there's Steven's negative underneath there. Oh, that's still very, very, very bright. Let's turn it down even further.
So there's definitely a difference in tonality. Like I see mine, yours, I see like a greenish light coming through,
yep.
Whereas mine feels a little more neutral or a little cooler maybe.
Yeah, for sure. And the other obvious differences besides the color tone and size, a standard developer is going to, it's just going to give you these shadows, which can go, this is a really well exposed negative. So you still do have some density here that isn't quite the film rebate right there. And then here on mine, I've got some thinner film rebate area, but it's hard to tell, the difference where the stain starts and ends, but it is in there gradually the whole time. It kind of fills in those gaps. So it gives you just a little bit of smoothing on that kind of step scale from transparent to dense. And in this area, it almost looks like, oh, light can't get through here, but it all comes through in the finished print, which is really, really neat. Okay, So let's jump it back to a normal camera for a sec. And how's our chat looking? Yeah, there's actually an event going on, so we got some. This is great. We have a round of applause, live studio audience.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna find another negative that I want to make a print with. One that has a similar density range to the one that I just printed from. Oh, you know what? There was that one negative that I made in a hurry toward the middle of the Hawking video, and I wonder if that's gonna. Ooh, that's not got enough. No, I don't think that's got enough meat on it. You know what, though? I still want to print it. All right. I'm going to look at this next negative and see if I can make it work. All right, which one's more dense? This one or this one? I think the one on the bottom is slightly more dense. I'm going to do a little comparative analysis and see what these two look like. So what I'm really just doing here, I'm not using a densitometer or anything really wild. I'm just trying to take the information that I know. This one printed well at 5 minutes. This one is one's a little thinner. If I want this one to come out the way I'm visualizing it, I'm going to attempt 4 minutes on this one, where 5 minutes was the right time for this one. So with that timer on the clock. Oh, Alan, thanks for tuning into the channel. Thank you so much. Mark, thanks for tuning into the channel. All right. And anybody else that's still tuning in, we're coming up to the end. We're gonna do our final print each here, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm gonna run one for 4 minutes. Do you want to run one for about 4 as well, or?
Yeah, we can give it a try.
See how that works? Okay, cool. So we're gonna load up our print frames. So I'll have Stephen load up his frame, and I'll load up mine here real quick. Because I'm gonna put the pane of glass right over top, and then you'll just set yours right on, and it shouldn't make a mask. Oh, you can always, do you have the 8x10 frame? Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, that'll work really well. All right. All right. And the negative I'm working with, did I walk and talk with it? No, it is over here. Okay. So there's the negative I'm using. Just lining it up with my little marks. Thank you, sir. Okay. I think that's your glass.
Yeah.
I might have stolen it from somebody else. I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was mine. I've got multiple pieces around.
Don't steal people's glass, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
You took my octagonal glass too.
I did. It didn't work out as well as I thought it would, though, so you can have it back. All right, Steven's loading his up. We're going to get the focus back. You loaded? Okay. Cool. All right, we're going. Oh, that's a little crazy around the focus. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Get the timer running. Sorry, chat. Technical difficulties using a phone. There we go. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, 4 minutes on the clock. We're doing our final print of the live stream. Sorry I didn't make as many as I did in the cyanotype episode. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, because this is nerve-wracking. Making platinum prints is like, it's printing money. There's way better things that you could probably do, but it's now a rainy Sunday afternoon here in Ohio, and this is why you make a UV source, that you don't care what time of year it is. You just care about getting in there and making some prints.
You can print at 10 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning. It's all good.
Exactly. Yeah, or you can just get into that darkroom zone where you look up and like 7 hours have passed and there's just a stack of paper and you're like, was I even hungry? When was the last time I ate? What day is this? You know, you just get into that mode. I think that's what's great about photography, is it has a way of doing that to us. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see how the chat's looking here. I didn't forget about you guys. All right, so Michael says, maybe a noob's question, but what paper do you use? Just thicker paper? Oh, that's a great question. So you want to use a very thick preferably like a mold-made watercolor paper or something that has more cotton than wood. So standard like papers, even some of the photographic papers have more of a wood pulp-based paper, not like a fiber pulp like cotton or mulberry or something like that. I love watercolor papers that have a lot of heft to them. I recommend one that's at least 300 GSM, or is that grams per square meter? I can't remember what GSM stands for, my goodness. But you want to have something that's a little bit thicker, and there's two types of watercolor paper. You can get a hot press paper, which means when it was in the mold, there was a heated press that makes it nice and smooth with very little texture to it. Or you can get a cold press paper, which is not heated and usually has a little bit more of a tooth or a texture to it. I like cold press papers, but I don't like them for every print because it kind of feels like you're just adding texture that isn't there. Some folks like it for, actually like it for cyanotypes because it kind of gives it more oomph. But with something like platinum with that very, very, very delicate shadow and highlight region, I like using a hotter press paper. One of my favorite papers for this process is the one that I'm using, the Hanamula. By the way, this isn't sponsored. I just really like their paper. The Hanamula Platinum Rag. I'll gladly pay full retail price for this paper anytime because I can just, you saw me, I pulled it out. I slapped some stuff on with a brush and we made some gorgeous prints with it. So like, what more can you ask? We've got just over a minute left on our prints.
I've used Burger Cot a lot in the past.
Oh, that's a classic one, the 320?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great paper. It's interesting that I feel like you have to be careful about how many passes back and forth with the brush or the puddle pusher because sometimes like the fibers can start abrading a little bit.
Grabs it, yeah.
Well, so that was pretty cool to see you like brushing this over and over.
It doesn't care. It's just like...
Yeah, it seems to be fine with it. That's pretty neat. I do love the Burger Cot, but I'm interested in using this some more.
Hanamula, if you're watching, send me more paper. But for real, guys, the choice of paper is just like your choice of camera and film and all that other stuff. It comes down to a personal choice, but give yourself time. Don't make one print and not isolate your variables and then wonder why you don't like it. Give yourself time with it. Go through a pack of paper. I'm the kind of person that when I go to Blick Art Materials, they like kind of get weirded out by me going through every single drawer and feeling up the papers and say, oh, this one would be great. Okay, we're 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, let's see. Max Shoots Film asked, do you think homemade paper would work? Probably. The problem with homemade papers is they're usually denser than cold press papers, and you may have contact issues with like the glass and your negative and the paper. And if there is too much variation and too much pressure, you can harm the original, which we never want to do that in the process. If you're scared of harming your originals, you can also look into the digital negative creation process. I haven't made a video for LFF about it yet, but there is a great 5-part series from Mr. Bill Schwab on his channel, which is Northlight Press. I recommend checking that out. So Brad asked a question of what sizing was used. I think this is just it's like a very simple gelatin sizing. It's a completely neutral sizing that they're using on there. It's not acid buffered. It doesn't skew alkaline. It's just like it works for a lot of different processes right out of the gate. Oh yeah, I agree. Digital negatives are, but I'm also like, I'm always cautious about putting episodes out there because I don't want to seem like an expert on something I'm not. In digital negatives, I haven't given them a fair shake yet. I've even done like a show with some prints made with those, but I'm just not there yet. So, stay tuned. If this is your first time checking out something with the channel, get subscribed. Every Friday we come out with new episodes and these live streams happen from time to time. Anyway, let's head into the darkroom and make some prints or develop them out. And hopefully we have some stuff that looks pretty okay. What's up?
Oh, we're running out of tray space.
Oh, we are. Actually, let's take the hair dryer. Let's take the hair dryer down real quick. All right. And Steven, if you'd like to do the honors, I'll start rotating through trays here.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so Steven's gonna take his print out, and I'm warming up to that first print of yours. It's gotten quite clearer.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be wondering if we underexposed this, because that's looking
pretty good.
I like that.
Yeah, well, we'll see how 4 minutes did. It'll be all right. All right, so I'm gonna rinse off the EDTA from my hands. And 3, 2, 1. All right, there it goes.
It's always such a satisfying thing when it comes up so quick with this process.
It's very quick. I need a camera. I need one of those Phantoms that does like 1,000,000 frames a second, just to you still wouldn't see anything, but it would happen slower, One of the cameras I film with is a Fuji that does like 240 frames a second. And I tried to slow that down for the video, and it just this sucks. I thought it was going to be better, but this looks pretty good, man. The shadows are definitely I think chocolatey is a good word. They look they look a little more subtle. So maybe we could have done a little more time, but the highlights actually don't look too much, but this area is lighter overall, but I think that's going to clear out pretty good.
Tried a different brush technique on this one. I was purposely trying to bring out the
you've got some comb kind of bits on it.
Yeah, kind of how you brush off at the end, your final stroke. That's you can kind of create that as you're moving towards the edge of the paper.
Nice. See, look at that. That's totally different technique in the in that this was kind of a more even edge to edge, whereas this guy right here is just it's really hard comb. It kind of looks cool. I've actually never seen a coating like that. Somewhere out in internet land, somebody is angry that we're hand coating platinum palladium and wasting so much precious metal. And I to a certain extent I agree, but this is the creative process. We all have. That's what I love about alt process. There's kind of rules, but there's also you can just kind of wing it. It's kind of what we did here today, folks. But
yes.
The other thing
you may not.
Oh yeah.
You may have guessed this was not pre-rehearsed.
No, and that's the best part about live. People really get a sense of it. I think this is as close as you can really get to that hands-on workshop where, this is what's happened. All right, let's change places here.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the bigger one in. It's my job to say size doesn't matter, but man, I love 8x10 contact prints. All right, I'm going to tip this in. Ready, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Nice.
Oh, baby.
Well executed.
That's
nice.
We love to see it.
Cool.
So, all right, let's kind of back it up for the folks that are just tuning in now. This is a platinum palladium print. This is an ultraviolet light exposure contact print with metal. So these are noble metals, platinum and palladium. Noble metals just mean they're non-reactive and they're relatively archival. So even if this print is not to your taste, too bad. It's going to stick around for hundreds of years, which that's wild. It's when you see an old tree and it's it's older than your entire family and you're like, what the heck? We're making photos that are. That's so, I don't know. I just love that. Love that feeling. And what I love about this process, the platinum palladium process, it gives you a smooth tonal scale. The highlight, it's just barely to clip right up here, but then the shadows are so delicate. There's so much information in there. This is something that you probably can't get a straight scan or a straight print in silver gelatin from a photographer, but in platinum, if you execute, you can get pretty close to that finished print right on the negative. And man, that's got the look. I'm actually going to make sure we're on the right camera. I feel like we are, but I want to make sure we're talking to folks. We're not talking and we're just no cameras on to the abyss. They're no, we didn't see it, but it looks good. Man, thanks for coming out today, Steven.
Sure, I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna
call me again. Send me a message.
All right. This is also not rehearsed, guys. I'm gonna put you on the spot right now, Steven.
Uh-oh.
I've had an idea for a long time. Would you ever want to do something like this? Doesn't have to be a live stream, but in your darkroom and printing and just like what we're doing now, palling out about stuff?
Yeah.
Would you be down for that? Okay.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, yeah, you know, just a couple photographers in the darkroom making prints. Like, that's it.
That sounds great.
Awesome. All right, chat, hold them to it. Check out Brownie in Motion on Instagram, Mr. Stephen Takis. Actually, Stephen, can you spell your last name just so everybody can find you the right way?
Yeah, last name is Takis. It's Takacs.
Very cool.
Stephen with a PH. To make it extra hard, too.
Excellent.
STEPHEN-TAKACS.
I'd have it no other way. All right, well, we're going to get these rinsing off. I'm going to come back. We'll do some final Q&A with the chat. And yeah, we're going to like kind of wrap it up there, guys, because we've already been live for 2 hours. This is kind of wild. The time.
Is this the longest one you've done?
We're at, or maybe we're almost there, if not there. Yeah.
Okay.
I try not to do like super long streams because they can get stressful, but man, I'm having a blast on this one. So yeah, let's keep this rinsing. Actually, if you want to head out to the front and switch to the main cam, and I'll be right out there. Perfect. Oh man, these prints are looking killer. And I'll take my gloves off. I'll just change out to a set of gloves. Perfect. Oh, all right. Chat, what'd I miss? Who's here still? Deep, gorgeous, fantastic print. Oh, thank you, everybody in the chat for all the kind words about the prints and for hanging around and watching all this stuff happen. Ralph, thank you so much. Eric, thanks for stopping by with us today.
Eric.
Really, really appreciate you coming in and hanging out, being an LFF sustaining. You were one of the first LFF sustaining members, so thank you for Eric. I will not forget that. Let's see. Random question from Brad. Is there a reason you're both wearing black? I think it's a photographer thing. Steven is a much more prolific commercial shooter than I am, but anytime I've ever been on set for something commercial, you gotta be neutral or preferably wearing black, because if you get too close to the subject matter or the scene and you show up to set in hot pink,
you start reflecting color into the scene. So
yeah,
you're shooting a white dress, somebody in a white dress, and you're wearing a bright red shirt. You're gonna start seeing that red tone in the dress.
Yeah,
if you get too close.
And a black shirt, you're your own negative fill, which can be great sometimes. Or if you wear something neutral, I have a shirt that's exactly 18% gray, or at least until I wash it a few more times, so I can like throw it up and do a quick white balance with it. So it's a great question, but The
other thing, I photograph a lot of stuff sometimes photograph art, so things behind glass. And so a lot of the trick to photographing objects behind glass is using a lot of black to like block out reflections.
See, there it is, guys.
You're hiding your camera in a tent of black fabric, and wearing black also helps you disappear from the scene.
There it is. You heard it there, folks, from a very successful local commercial and fine art photographer, Mr. Stephen Takis. Thank you so much.
Thanks. It's been fun. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's see. Oh, wow. I just totally lost where the chat was. Perfect. Oh, Stephen, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody for being here for today's edition of Large Format Live. I'll take a few last questions and we're gonna wrap it up, and I'll figure out what the heck I'm gonna do drawing all these things. Everybody, I can't hear it, but give Stephen a big round of applause for stopping in. He probably didn't know how much work he actually signed up for today. We made him work for those prints.
I'm glad to be here. It's been a lot of fun, guys. That's a not flattering angle.
That's all right.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. This has been so much fun. Yeah, we'll take maybe like 2 or 3 more minutes of questions and stuff, but thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Again, this has been Large Format Live, which is me kind of giving back in any way I can to just show you guys something about the large format photographic process. Today, we were on the opposite side. We weren't on the camera side. We were on the negative side, printing. And Stephen's actually bringing out a tray. Oh, yeah.
I just feel like you should show this in better light, because came out quite nice.
So here is one of our finished platinum prints. It is
the tonality's gorgeous.
It's got it there. It's looking all right. And of course there is going to be a bit of dry down going on, like any print will, but platinum prints, when you show them under a good amount of light, put it in a nice archival frame, this is kind of what you want. Oh, Jay asked, what time do you usually arrive at Hocking Hills? So for the last episode where I made those pictures, I got up at 4 in the morning to get down there. So by the time I was there, we were a half hour before sunrise. I usually start doing my intro and B-roll stuff right before sunrise. And I time it so I'm down there with a few hours to work. The Hocking Hills area is a big old valley. And there's, you usually have a couple hours of working time before the sun peaks up over the valley. And there's really no bad angles, no bad times of day when you go really early or you go really late. Okay, the bad time of day is in the middle of the day, but that's because there's a lot of people there. So I try to beat the people to the location. And I went just before Memorial Day. Actually, I'll give you guys a little insider look into how chaotic my life is with Large Format Friday. I only get like 1.5 days off a week, and I filmed that Hocking Hills episode on Thursday, the Thursday before Large Format Friday. So less than 24 hours to Large Format Friday, I was still shooting it, not even developing, scanning, all that stuff. So that's what's given me the courage to attempt something like Platinum Palladium printing live. I do it because I want to share my love of this, show how much, this has changed my life. Like getting into these type of cameras and this process and talking with folks online is like, it's not like 100% my job, but it's like I'm connecting with so many people, and it's become a huge, huge part of my life. I've met so many cool people. I'm talking to so many cool people that maybe I've just met today. So this is great. This is what it's all about. And that's what I love about photography. It's a universal language. We can share our passions together and share really cool prints. If you want to check out more about everything that we did today, including more episodes of Large Format Live, or you want to learn how to contribute a little bit more to the channel, you can head over to mattmarrash.com or marrash.com, M-A-R-R-A-S-H. We have a new thing on the channel called Sustaining Memberships. There are ways that you can contribute on a monthly basis, starting at $1 and going up from there to help me afford doing all this kind of crazy printing stuff. I also have prints for sale. I am a photographer, so I do sell these type of prints. Platinum Palladium prints are not cheap. You heard what the materials cost if you were sticking around, so they're not the cheapest things, but they're a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to pay some service to the folks in chat that have stuck around this entire time, and we're going to get on out of here. So, awesome. Ralph, you can have that on your wall. If you head to marrash.com/prints, I'm actually going to put the prints that I made up today here on the website, and I will do a non-standard price, not higher. I'm going to do it a little bit lower than my normal Platinum Palladium prints. Wero, your question, how much time do you usually spend tweaking on the camera before setting up an exact composition? Not long. I'm actually kind of a fast large format shooter. I'm usually in there for about 5-10 minutes. It usually takes me longer when I'm filming Large Format Friday because I want to take you through the process. The hardest thing about doing what I'm doing right now, as well as the channel, is taking a second to stop and say what it is I'm doing or say what it is I'm thinking. And I'm still not great at it, but for the channel, I try to include as much of that process as possible, sometimes too much of the mental process. Jay, thinking about going tomorrow to Cedar Falls or Rockbridge. Rockbridge on a weekday after Memorial Day shouldn't be too terrible. If you can get down there before 9 a.m., you should be in the clear. As far as Cedar Falls, even on a Monday, I try not to go to Hocking Hills too much between Memorial Day and Labor Day because by 8 a.m., you are at Cedar Point. Like, it's like a theme park. There's just cars and trailers and like nobody's wearing shirts a lot of the time. Like, it's madness there. The last episode I filmed down there, I did a majority of the filming in the first 2 hours. And then the last 4 hours I was there was to film the final like 5 minutes because I was just fighting all of the crowds and stuff. So if you go early. It's the best thing I can recommend. Oh, Ralph, thank you so much. Rude Moss, thank you so much. Color Analog, thank you. Oh, David, been Platinum Palladium printing. That's awesome. It's such a fun process, even though it happens so quick. It's just like, it's that nice, just enough bit of dopamine to keep you going and help you forget about how much money you just spent trying to make it. So, guys, thank you so much. Oh, Brad, I'm going to answer Brad's question. Do you have to be a morning person to be a good landscape photographer? No, you don't have to be. I know a lot of people aren't morning people, and I don't always get up early in the morning. But the only thing I will get up for, and somehow I've trained my brain to just force myself awake, when I am committed about the shoot and I load my holders the night before, I'm up right before I need to be to shoot. But any other time, you're not getting me up. So you don't have to be a morning person, but it does help.
Sunset can be great. Golden hour.
Golden hour.
I'm not a morning person. I always go for late in the day. If I'm trying to get like dramatic lighting, golden hour is your friend.
All right. Last question of the day. Daryl, hey, thanks for tuning in, man. What black and white film has the greatest latitude? Films are only a small portion of it. It's the film you take, the developer you use in combination with, and your knowledge of those working materials to manipulate it around. That being said, T-Max. But you can make Ilford stuff work. This was just Delta 100, and it's got a sweet range. It's not quite as meaty as my T-Max 400 and Tri-X negatives, but it's also just under half the price. So it's definitely what materials you've tested and worked together with. And that's why I wanted to do today's live stream on Platinum, because I've shown you guys on the channel how to build the source, how to coat the materials, how to test the film. And I wanted to show you guys live. Here's my first printing of the stuff that we've gone through on the channel. If you haven't checked out the channel, you can head to, just click the icon here for Large Format Friday and check out the playlist for season 3 and get subscribed. And yeah, hopefully stick around for more of this content. All right, I gotta hit the road, guys. Camera batteries are crying at me. Hard drives are screaming. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to put up some scans of the, not scans, maybe just like a straight photograph of these prints. They will be up for sale on Marrash.com. Hopefully, I'll have them up tomorrow. So those prints will be up there for purchase, and all proceeds will go to doing more crazy stuff like this. So thank you so much for stopping by. Get subscribed, head over to Marrash.com to see the results. Thank you again, Stephen, and we'll catch you next Friday for more LFF.